tequila.
What is going on? Motivation Theory Run Club. Welcome everyone. Hopefully we can all hear me and see me. Hopefully everything's good. Little bit rushed today. Was a little bit rushed today. Think we're good though. I think we're good. Let me go ahead and say hello. Welcome everyone. Welcome Tasmania Running. Recycle on Wednesdays. What's going on? Oh man, I've been rushed. How is everyone? Happy is it Tuesday? Tuesday, the 16th. Whew. What's going on, Frank? Frank asks, what is the biggest ultra in Tasmania? We can all hear me? We good? Ty, go ahead and give me a "we're good" in the chat if you can hear me and see me. It would help me out a little bit. So, welcome everyone to the Motivation Theory Run Club Lap 12. We are on 12 episodes so far, and I'm excited about that. This is the longest in the history of this channel that I've ever maintained a schedule. So this has been a lot of fun. Today we're going to be talking about why any runner can run an ultra marathon, and I've done videos on this in the past, and I would like to get everyone else's input on that. So, as you know, I got into ultra running a long time ago, and I remember what it was like, the planning and the prepping and the stressing and the just trying to figure it out. Like, you know, I was scared to go into the race, make sure I had enough food, and it was just one of those things. And so, you know, one of the missions of this channel, especially when I started the channel, was, you know, how do I kind of demystify that? How do I make it so that the people that I can help would not be so worried and would transition from whatever distance they ran before into ultra marathons? Because, you know, before you do it, anyone who's done an ultra marathon, it's kind of a scary topic, just because it's such an absurd thing to do. If you're not in any running circles, like, there's no one that you know is going to have run one if you're not around a bunch of runners. I'm not around a bunch of runners, so most people think what I do is ridiculous. They think marathons are ridiculous, much less ultra marathons. So today I want to talk about that. I want to kind of go over some of my thoughts on that, some of the things I've said before, and I would like to kind of go to the chat. And for those of you who are watching in the replay, down in the comments section where you share your tips and tricks to prepping for an ultra marathon. You know, I've done videos where I've talked about what I pack, how I prep for it like the night before. So it's not just the training wise, but it's like, what do you prepare? What do you do for drop bags? What do you do for crew? Things like that. There's a lot that goes in this, especially the longer and longer distances and those bigger races. There's a lot to consider. So let me jump into the chat real quick and say hello to everyone. What's going on, David Rowan? Welcome to the stream. What's going on, Frank, Todd M, Kelly? Welcome to the stream. Kelly, a new subscriber, right? You have been killing it. I've been trying to go through all of the comments on the videos, so thank you for that. That really, I love the comments on the videos. So everybody, always comment on the videos. Joe Kern, welcome. Tasmania Running. Posner 2, welcome. Mickey, I always said Frank, everyone. And that's only the people I can see because you've talked into the you've typed into the chat. That's why I can welcome. You got 11 people in here right now. Welcome everyone. Please make sure you hit the the thumbs up on the video while you're here. If you're not subscribed, please do so. Go ahead and show that. So I'm going to go down through here. So Recycling on Wednesday says, hey. David Rowan says, hello. Frank says, we already read that. Biggest Ultra in Tasmania. What is it? Todd M says, hello. Kelly says, hello, loud and clear. I'm glad everyone can hear me. You know, I was rushed when I came down here. I was on Kafuzi's live stream, and then I was watching the baby for the wife, and then because she was doing some stuff, and then I ran out of time. So I've been running around trying to straighten up. I'm like in a war zone right now I got camera equipment all around me. Hopefully nothing falls on me. Joe Kern says, hello, John, loud and clear. Tasmania Running says, people do long run solo, but the biggest organized one I'm aware of is the 100-kilometer Go Nuts run. Huh. Positive 2 said, looking forward to this topic. I just signed up for your first ultra, right? Or is it your first or just another one? Okay, my first 50K. Frank said, I guess Tasmania is a good place for ultras. Tasmania Running said the Go Nuts because it's from one old coastal volcano to another, colloquially called the Nut. So Posner's got Skyline 50K in Castro Valley, California. This August 2nd. Hopefully it happens. Hopefully it happens. Kelly says, Posner, good luck. I only just discovered the Skyline runs. They sound amazing. They do sound amazing. I would love to do some of the really cool runs. Like, I don't even want to get myself too excited about all of these races because I've been doing a lot of live streams where people talk about these races and doing a lot of research on them, and you know, I'm starting to get kind of amped up for them, and I don't want to put too much into it, especially if we're not going to be able to race for a year. Tasmania Running says, I've done the 25-kilometer version, video of it on my channel, of the Go Nuts, if you want a squeeze. Am I pronouncing that right? Kelly said, John, figured comments help your stats. Yeah, they do. Not only did comments help the stats, hitting the like button helps the stats. Watch times, how long you watch the videos, helps the stats. But all that aside, I actually really enjoy the comments on the videos. I mean, from anything like you enjoyed it or not. I love answering questions and responding. Again, I respond to all questions on my channel, and I will do that in the foreseeable future, for as long as I can. But right now, I'm still at a size where I can still do it. Sometimes I've spent a couple hours doing it, but it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. You spend a lot of time making content. You like people to enjoy it. Michael, welcome to the stream. Michael says, my marathon has been put back until next year. I've decided to go forward with a 50K and beyond. Any tips for transitioning? Greatly appreciated. Oh, Tasmania Running says, squiz a look. Haha, sorry. Okay. Awesome. I love the words that come out of Australia. This is some really cool stuff. At least it is to Americans. So, the topic at hand, and please, anyone who's running ultra, please chime in, add anything you want into the chat. So from transitioning from a marathon into an ultra marathon, I don't think it's a huge jump. Most of what I did with the transition is just getting time on your feet. So like when you're doing marathons, I did a lot more, I think, interval work and speed work to try to lower my marathon time. But I didn't spend a lot of time with my time on my feet with my long runs. The biggest change from, sorry, my allergies are acting up. The biggest change from the marathon distance to the ultra is basically time on your feet and whatever you can do to get more time on your feet. When I ran my first ultra, I was on my feet for close to 13 hours, and that was by far the longest I'd been on my feet. I did some back-to-back long runs, and you're trying to replicate that. You're trying to do like I think I've gone back through some of my training plans and looked where I'd do like 10 to 16 on a Saturday and like a 20 to 30 on a Sunday. I only did that a couple times. Most of those back-to-back long runs were shorter distance, maybe like a 12 on a Saturday and an 18 on a Sunday. And I think I've said this in other videos, I spend a lot of time standing at a desk. I do everything I can, from walking and just spending a lot of time on my feet. And I know that you're like, when you think about it, like, well, no, I should be doing lots of running. I think anything you can do to stand more, walk more, hike more, just spending more time on your feet really helps that transition, especially if you're going from a marathon to 50K. It's not that much further, but it is, you know, anybody who's run a marathon knows if you're told to run if you were told to, okay, now you got to run 5 more miles, you're not going to want to do it. It's a big difference. But going from spending 4 to 5 hours on your feet, depending on what your marathon times are, to spending, 8 to 12 hours if you're looking like at a 50 miler, depending on what it is, especially, if you're in the mountains, it could be a lot longer. It's definitely a huge change. So it's the time on your feet. It's being able to deal with your nutrition. You don't really eat a ton in marathons. I don't eat a ton, but in ultras I do. You have to fuel, you're burning hundreds and hundreds of calories per hour, and your body can only, I think it's metabolized, like 400 or so calories an hour. So you're constantly dealing with the caloric deficit. You're dealing with things like dehydration. You're just so many different things you're not used to dealing with at the marathon, because a marathon is a lot shorter, a lot faster. Ultras could be a lot slower and a lot longer, and you have to deal with that. And that was the hardest part for me, was dealing with the eating part, because previous to doing ultras, I didn't like eating a ton. It just gave me cramp. It made my stomach cramp. My stomach would get upset. So I practiced eating quite a bit, eating and running. So I've talked about this on it. Like, a lot of times I eat dinner and then I run on the treadmill. And a lot of that's just because that's how my life is timed out. And a lot of it is because I choose to do that, because when I run an ultra and you have to eat a lot, you have to deal with being full. So that's a lot of the tips that I have for like the major areas. And now you could kind of go down and drill down into those and break those apart. So that's just more of like the training side of it and getting prepared for it. And then there's also the side for packing. And I think I could probably make a series of videos that has 30 videos on it when it comes to like packing for it, preparing for it, researching ultras, how to prepare your crew. What are they supposed to do? What are they expected to do? And again, that gets more complex from like doing something like it's a little less complex, like a 50K, or even going to a 100-miler or a multi-day. I mean, there's just so much to take into account there. Let me check in here. Tasmania Running said, I'd be sore from sleeping 13 hours, let alone running. Yeah, it's definitely difficult. Kelly says, I have only raced a max half marathon distance, but I have hiked 24 plus miles in boots and 20-pound pack with lots of elevation. I'm really hoping that helps my leaps to ultra. It does. So if you're a hiker, again, I think people need to understand where I'm coming from in this. I'm talking about non-elite racers, people who are competitive. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about like most of us who are just doing ultras to finish them or just to beat our own times. Anything you can do, like hiking, is definitely going to be something that's going to help you. You're going to do a lot of walking, especially if you're doing things at elevation with a lot of vert. You're going to be walking and power hiking a lot. And it could be as much as 50% or even more of the ultra. You're going to be doing some form of power hiking, walking. It just really depends on the terrain. So anything you can do, hiking is a huge benefit. So if you to hike 24 miles, if you're averaging 3 miles an hour, you're out there for a number of hours. So it's a lot of time on your feet, which is definitely going to be beneficial. So Michael Brown said, yeah, I'd like to get to 50 miles. It's the training, hydration, nutrition, eating. Thanks for your tips thus far. Yeah, I have plenty of videos on those, Michael, that are on the ultra and prepping for them. I have a lot of videos on that. So if you go to my channel and you go to where the videos are, or the playlists, all the playlists on the channel are all broken down, and you can watch those. And I go over all of the stuff in a lot more detail, even the ones where I'm showing you what's packed away in my container, which I'd show you my container, but my laptop's sitting on top of it right now. I spend a lot of time. I'm very particular when it comes to preparing for pretty much anything. You know, having done search and rescue and all that stuff, I make sure I have everything and pack everything. But nutrition, I think, is one of the big things. The first couple races I did, I was really still trying to dial in dealing with the caloric deficit. So I burn a ton of calories. You know, I'm not a small runner, and I couldn't eat enough calories to maintain that. So you're constantly going through that bonking situation where your body just is not feeling good. You're going through things like palate fatigue. And if you're new to ultras, or eating the same things over and over again, I never even thought that was possible. But you get palate fatigue. There's things where you've trained with it, you love it, and all of a sudden you know, after eating it for 4 hours in a race, you can't even stand to smell it and make you gag or your stomach hurt. Like, weird stuff like that happens that you just can't even account for. So, you know, one of the things you need to be ready for in ultras is just that you're not going to be ready for everything. Things are going to happen. You just got to be flexible. You have to keep a positive mind, because you're going to get negative. Your mind's going to start to, especially if it's your first couple and you're just really dealing with, you know, the pain cave and things maybe not going right and your expectations and stuff like that. And just kind of understanding that, you know, things are going to happen. You just got to stay flexible and positive through it. Welcome, Goku Runner. Goku Runner said, okay, I'm sorry, we go back up one. Kelly said, could you do a crew specific video? No idea what they need to do to help me. So on that, yeah, I have a whole series that I'm going to be doing on that I have planned out, to kind of talk about that stuff. But definitely, you're going to come to understand you better than, because we're all an experiment of one. You know, Goku Runner's experience when he's running ultra is different than mine, than yours will be. You just got to kind of understand what works for you, especially in training. So it's, you know, breaking things down, like, okay, I'm going to have 4 aid stations, and I know at this first aid station I'm gonna want to change my shoes, my socks, and my backpack, because this is going to be a section of the trail that doesn't have as many water stations, so I need to carry it during this section. It's a longer section, which I've had sections where it's not even, some are harder. And then I tell them, you know, on the second one I'm going to want to change my shoes because I've been in my shoes for 6 hours and they get crushed out, and I want to change to a new shoe, or it's going to be more of a flat level ground, so I need to change from the trail shoe. It's just all those little things you're going to need to let them know, because they're not going to know, and they're going to need to know that they need to fill your bottles, you know, have all that stuff prepped for you when you come into the aid station, especially if you're going to be chasing cutoffs. Kelly said, okay, I'm sorry, we go back up. Joe Kern said, I'd like to talk nutrition, even if not today. I set my personal best Saturday, but the wheels fell off at the end. I couldn't eat for the last 6 hours and threw up. Yeah, so you definitely want to hear more about that. That was this weekend. Yeah, I've lost like a couple days. I don't know what's going on. It's been so busy. I couldn't eat for the last 6 hours and threw up all my liquid. See, that's another thing. You don't know that. You can train all you want and say, you know, I know exactly what I like. I know the foods I've never had a problem with hydration. Like, you just never know how your stomach's going to react. If you don't take in enough electrolytes and sodium, and then your stomach, you can't absorb the water. You need that to help you absorb with that water, so you stay hydrated. And like, if you get too far gone or you can't eat, you're not eating because you don't feel like eating, because you don't feel good, but you have to eat. And there's nothing worse than feeling nauseous and forcing yourself to eat, especially something you think tastes disgusting all of a sudden because it's a mind game. It's like you have to battle through. I mean, I always tell people, ultras are as much mental as they are physical. And the physical can suck sometimes, but the mental does too. The mental side's the side that is in control. Physical, I can deal with physical pain. I can push it. But when my mind starts saying, dude, you're dying, you need to stop. And I'm going, and you got to fight with that. And like, no, you're not. I know I'm not dying. So that's the stuff you gotta deal with. 'Cause nutrition is a big one. You got to start early, even when you don't think. Because when you get into an ultra and you're cranking along at 6, 7, 8, 9 miles into it, and you're feeling great because that's the distance you do all the time, and so you don't really think that much about it. You don't realize you're going to be doing 50 miles or 100 miles, and your training runs were much shorter than that. And you're used to eating and doing your nutrition for that distance. Like, you need to think about that, eating early, starting off slow, and getting ahead of everything. That's the biggest lesson I can teach people, is you need to get ahead of the issues before they become an issue. Because once you start getting dehydrated, it's hard to catch up. Once you get in that huge caloric deficit, it's hard to catch up. You need to eat even when you don't think you need to. That's why you have to set those, whether or not it's a wristband with a laminated wristband that tells you how often you should eat, or a notification on your watch telling you that you need to eat every so often. Like, you have to stick to those plans, because anytime I've had issues because I don't stick to the plan. I think about it, and then I get out there, I'm like, I'm feeling good, and I'm shooting the what with guys and gals hiking in the, just chatting, getting off my plan and not really thinking about it. You have to stick with your plan, especially if you know if it works for you. Goku Runner, welcome to the stream. Signed up for my last 50 miler 2 weeks before, since I won the entry. Basically no training. I watched that video recently. I watched a couple of years, I think, of some ultras that you did. Goku Runner said also just have to worry about time limits. Yeah, sometimes those can come into play if you end up chasing, if you start off too slow and you're being overly conservative, and you end up having to chase cutoffs all day, especially if you're not feeling good. Like, there's just so much going on that you have to plan for, and crew is critical. Like, I always say, like, my first several ultras, like, if I didn't have a crew, I don't even know if I would have made it. Like, it's not only what they're doing to help you, but it's the mental aspect of knowing they're going to be there for you through those emotional parts. I get emotional. I do. Like, the endorphins kick in, and it just, I don't know what it is about them. They make me emotional. I get, not that I'm a blubbering mess out there, but there's a lot of pain involved, and having people that you care about and care about you there to help you, it just helps a lot. I love having my kids out there too, even though they don't like seeing their dad suffer. I feel bad for them for that. Kelly said, Goku just found you last night. Love your stuff. Absolutely. Goku Runner said, hey Kelly, thanks. I appreciate that. Frank said, at Kelly, what event are you interested in? You don't really need to crew for a 50K. And that's true. For the distances, you don't have, crew is not super important. Like, a 50K is not huge, but it depends on, where it is. If it's, a 50K with 30,000 feet of vert, I don't know. It's not a huge distance. Sometimes races will allow you to pack your own go bags and drop bags, and then you just put the number on them, and they'll put it at the aid station you need to be at. 100 milers, you're definitely going to want people. I've had them for 50 milers. Not that I had to have them. Like, the 50 milers were good. The aid stations were good enough. But if there's specific things that you want, not all races will deliver your drop bags. They just don't. So not all races will have that. And I think JFK is like that. Like, I don't think they deliver your drop bags. I've never had it, so it's nice to be able to have my stuff, like my shoes and my socks. You could. I mean, Frank's right. There could be it might not be needed, but I think it's depending on the race. Like, JFK 50, you're running 15.5 miles on the Appalachian Trail. You might be in trail shoes. I always change shoes when I come off down onto the Sino Canal. I change into a different shoe because I don't need to have a trail shoe when I'm running on flat ground for the next 27 miles, and then the last 8 is on the road. So there's certain things you need to consider. So again, when I give these tips, they might not apply to all races, but there are definitely some considerations that you need to take into account when planning. Make sure I got everything here. Oh, that went way up there. Trying to keep up. You guys are awesome, chatting a lot. I like it. Michael Brown said, palate fatigue, so you need a bunch of different delicious eats. Gotcha. Yeah, I learned that I do best, and I've talked about this, I do best with real food. Real food is always my favorite. And what's nice when you bring your own stuff, sometimes the things you bring because you've eaten it so much, and I tread lightly here, cautiously when you go there. Like I'll just start eating stuff off off the tables at the aid stations. Yeah, palate fatigue happens. I had one race, and I think I mentioned this before in a stream. It was a double marathon over 2 mountains, and when I got over the first turn, like when I got to the turnaround, like everything tastes like gasoline. The water, the chips, the food, everything I was putting in my mouth, and it was freaking me out. Like it tastes like gasoline. Like I was literally looking at people like, can you taste this? It tastes like exhaust or gasoline. I don't know what's happening. There's weird stuff happens. You just never know. So just be prepared for everything. It's that easy. Just prepare for literally everything that could possibly happen. I'm just kidding with that. Kind of. Mike Z said, just saying hi to my fave group. Welcome, Mike Z. Good to see you. I'm glad this is your favorite. This is my favorite group, too. It's a great bunch of people. Kelly said, I'm planning on signing up for either the Ben Nevis or Glencoe Skyline in Scotland, but not until 2022. Bucket list trip. Figured I'd squeeze in an epic race. Yeah, there's so many cool things. And I told you, I think, and I responded to some of you. I responded to every comment that you've left, Kelly. Yeah, that is so cool. There's some ones I want to do just because I just want to do them. There's so many beautiful places around the world that have races that are just I want to go to, but gives me anxiety to travel right now, to even think about it. Especially if I travel someplace like Scotland. My wife's not going to want me running. She's not going to want to go be around a race. She's had enough problems dealing with the ones here in the States. She's not going to go, I'm not going to go on a trip to Scotland and crew a race. And Kelly also said, I'll be chasing cutoffs. Hey, it happens. It happens. But the funny thing is when you're actually chasing cutoffs, but you don't really need to because your mind can't do the math. I've had that happen in JFK a couple times where I start freaking out and like math, like it's like mile 41 and like my math is all jacked up in my head and I can't figure it out. I'm like, oh, am I gonna miss a cutoff? Like I'm freaking out, and it's amazing what can happen to you. It really is. It's an amazing thing. And I made a video when I first started this channel. It's called like the top 5 things I wish I knew before I ran my first ultra. And there's a statement I made this almost 6 years ago. I made a statement that running an ultra is like having a baby. And I meant it wasn't like physical. It's not the physical. I mean, it's partly that, but it's like, you train and you prepare and you get nervous and you plan for and you do everything you possibly can. Because you care so much about this race, you want to do it. And then you do the race, and it's beautiful, and you go through all this pain and sweat and blood and tears, and then the race finishes, and then you're like, I'm never doing that again. Because there will have times where you're in races where you're like, I'm never ever racing again. It was just too much. And then a couple weeks go by, or even that same night, you're out looking for more races, and it's like having a baby. Like you go through all those same things, and you have a baby. You're like, I don't know if we can have another baby. And then you get the baby. The baby gets about 6 months. You're like, you know what? It'd be nice to have another baby. The babies are so cute and lovable. And so there's 2 camps of people. People who get what I'm trying to say with that. And then there's the people who take it literally, saying, I'm a man and you shouldn't be equating anything to having a baby because you can't even speak to it. And I'm like, I'm a father of 5. I can kind of speak to it. And I'm not talking like it's physically like the birthing of a child. It's the process. It's the process. People, it's the process. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. So one of the points I wanted to make is that, I've said this many times on this channel. And just before we go any further, please make sure that you click the like button right now. That would be helpful to me in the video and our metrics and all that stuff. I'd really appreciate it. If you're enjoying everything, please smash that like button. And today we're talking about why any runner can run an ultra marathon. So if you're just joining me, that's what we're talking about today. And one of the points I'd like to make is, a lot of people they kind of put themselves in certain camps, like, I could never run that far, or I have bad knees, I could never do that. And while some of that stuff is true, I always try to tell people, like, it's not as hard as you think it will be. It's hard. Running an ultra is hard, but it's never as hard as you think it's going to be. I mean, I know in my mind, I put this thing way, way up high. Like I thought it was going to be like this impossible feat. And, you know, especially when I read about it in books and stuff like that, it was very hard for me to kind of conceptualize myself doing it. And so I put it on this pedestal, like, I don't know if I could do that. And so I over-planned and overdid everything. When I finished it, it's like, well, while it was hard, it wasn't impossible. And I see lots of different people out there. I see people that are in advanced stage, old people. I see men and women of all shapes and sizes and backgrounds out there running these things. And I just try to tell people, just keep an open mind about it. And people are always quick to say that they can't do it or they won't do it. It's definitely life-changing. It's definitely life-changing. I am a different person now than I was before I ran an ultra. It changed me. It changed my perception on what I can achieve. It changed my perception on who can do ultras, what they look like. It's definitely changed me as a person. I am not the same person. There's nothing I don't think I can achieve now. Like if I had enough time and planning and preparation, I think I can pretty much do anything within limits. But I kind of always want people to understand that. Like, don't sell yourself short. You don't know how much you have inside of you until you push yourself to the point where you have to drag that out, until you have to drag something out of you that shows you how tough you are, how much you can actually endure, how much pain you can overcome, how you can fight your brain telling you to stop and get through it. That changes you. Going through that type of experience changes you. And I know that there's lots of experiences in life that are similar. And I think people will tell you the same thing, that when they went through those things, it changed them. And ultras do change you, especially if you're putting yourself through something that's been harder than anything physically you've ever done in your life. It does change you. And so I would suggest, within reason, and people nail me on when I have the name of the title of the video that I released, I don't know, in the beginning of last year, it was the same title, why any runner can run an ultra marathon. And people would be like, hey, you can't tell me this person has a heart thing. And they were like, everyone gets so literal. I don't literally mean anyone. I mean literally anyone who has the will and is healthy enough to do it can. You can. It's not impossible. These people are not superhuman that are running ultramarathons. They're not. They are not people that are the best athletes in the world. They're not. They're just simply not. They are people who can put one foot in front of the other for a very, very long time, and they're mentally tough. They're able to fight the things inside of them telling them to stop, whether it's demons that they have inside of them that just makes them tough enough and mean enough to get through it, or they just know that they're not going to let negative thoughts take over, and they fight it. Let me jump back in the chat real quick. So Frank's asked if are you bringing to, I guess, to Kelly, are you bringing the crew on the bucket list trip? That'd be a sweet trip. I think Frank's getting right. I haven't read any more comments. Frank probably said, are you taking volunteers for that crew? I think you'll have some hands go up to volunteer to help you crew any of those cool bucket list trips. Michael Brown says, Kelly, watch me here. That's an awesome goal. Sounds idyllic. Absolutely. Dave Rowan said, Kelly, both tough runs. I have run Devil O in the Highland. Great run. Kelly said, my poor husband, I pick my races in part based on how much fun it's going to be for him. Well, that's good to consider. A lot of the races I try to consider my wife. Oh, and just by the way, I'm just noticing we've hit the highest we've ever had on the channel. 20 people on at one time. Amazing. Remember to hit the like button, everybody. That's awesome. It's good to have everyone here. Welcome to the stream. Today we're talking about why any runner can run an ultra marathon. We're kind of going over tips and tricks and lessons learned. Anyone can join in and share them. I'm the same way, Kelly. I have to think about that, especially if I'm going to take my wife. It's not fun for her at all, especially when she's watching the kids. And I understand that, which is more stressful for me. You also said, going to look that up after. Yeah, absolutely. Again, all the stuff I talk about, I have tons of playlists. If you go to the Motivation Theory Running channel and you go under videos and you go under playlists, I have all my videos broken up into playlists. Every single one is all in the playlist. Makes it really easy to kind of slice and dice and go for what you want to look for, especially in the playlists. I've broken everything out into multiple playlists. So You want really easy consumption of my content, go to the playlist section tab of my main part of my channel. So after we're done, you just click on the Motivation Theory Running name, go to the channel, and you're going to be set. It's all broken up for you already. Kelly, I said Wales is on my bucket list too. Have some good mountain trails there. I would know. Somebody probably, we've got people from all over the world. They probably know. Michael Brown said, yeah, got dehydrated on my big run on Saturday. Messed me up. Didn't bring enough water with me. Lesson learned. Yeah, absolutely. Water, hydration is something you cannot mess up, because when it starts to go south, it becomes a major problem. Real quick story. If you've heard this, I apologize, but years ago, I was going on kind of like a 17 or 19 mile training run, just around my neighborhoods and stuff. And it was kind of a cool day, but high humidity. We have days like that here where it'll be in Virginia, where it'll be like 68, but 70% humidity. And so it's tricky. It's tricky with how hot it is. And I carried 2 water bottles. Should have been enough. And I remember getting to about mile 16 and realizing I had only drank 1 bottle. So it's like a 17-ounce bottle, 16-ounce bottle. And the thought, I probably should have had both these, because I drink about 16 to 17 ounces every 5 miles on just kind of a normal day. And I get home and I take a shower and get out of the shower, dry off, go to the bathroom, and I'm sorry, it's kind of graphic, but peed blood. And I was thinking, that's not good. Scared the crap out of me. Went and told my wife, went to the local emergency place, and they said I was so severe. They had to put 2 full giant, like 40-ounce IV bags, or 80, whatever they are, IV bags into me to get me back to the normal point. I didn't, and what scared me is I didn't feel bad. That's when I knew how dangerous dehydration could be, because I could have had my kidney shut down. And they ran all the tests, and I didn't have any permanent damage, but it became super scary to me, because I've heard about these things like in Western states where people's kidneys shut down on them because they don't know how dehydrated they are, and the ketosis and stuff like that, you don't know. And especially that, I always felt like you would really know something's wrong. That scared me. So now I do not mess with hydration. I'm not carrying the bottles. I have them in my car, and I make sure that I'm doing a loop and I'm stopping every couple miles and drinking some. I just don't mess around with hydration, especially in training. I do not mess around with it. You don't want to do it in races either, but I definitely would advise anyone to really take seriously dehydration, especially after what I went through. And there's a lot more worse stories than mine, especially if you've had kidneys shut down and stuff like that. You don't want to do that. It's not worth it. I'm getting there. I'm going to get through all of these comments. The lesson learned, Frank said, crew involvement can vary a lot based on the crew. I think it's a lot easier to have a crew or fellow runner than a non-runner family. I think it's definitely easier to have people that are runners to help you. So I've had some fellow runners actually pace me and crew and stuff, and it was very, very helpful. Very, very helpful. Goku Runner said, did everyone smash that like button on this video yet? Absolutely. Good reminder. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Kelly said, Frank, I'm sure you're right. Sadly, I've only got a few running friends, and they're running. Sorry, John, totally yapping away here. Cool people here. Yeah, they're absolutely great people here, and all super knowledgeable about running. And if you're not aware, we do have the Strava group too. So if you have a running watch, and you can join Strava, and it'll sync with it, and you can join the Motivation Theory Running Club on Strava and track everybody, all their runs and what they're doing. It's a great place too. So that's where most of these people are coming from. I think, a lot of them are subscribers, and a lot of them are also on Strava. So go check out the Strava group. It's Motivation Theory Run Club, and you can find that too. There. Goku Runner's got one too. Where are we going here? Let me see. I don't have, and just so you know, Kelly, I don't have a ton of friends. It's like, so I've been trying to look around for more local runners and things, like the groups that get together for some of the runs around here, because I don't have a lot of running. I not only do I not have a ton of running friends, but I don't have almost no friends that run ultras. So, run a lot of solo miles, a lot of it for a long time. Joe Kern said, I may be in the minority, but I like the loop races. No crew needed. Plus, I don't like carrying things with me. Never far from my home base. Trade off. Yeah, that's so interloopal races. The ATR 24 is one. It's a great interloopal race. You don't have to have a crew. You have to carry water. Most races make you carry water of some sort. Carry a water bottle of some sort, or they won't let you race. That is good. You can still have crew come for you just to hang out for moral support, but the interloopal races are awesome because you don't need crew. Because it is hard. It's hard to ask people to be kind of inconvenienced on your behalf. Like, I think about that when I look at like Badwater and Western States, and I think runners would love to go do those things to raise their hand and support you. But I think asking family and friends who are non-runners to go do some of the stuff, it's a different world. The perfect scenario, you're going to have, your significant other that's there for support, but then having runner friends who are just there. They're enjoying the environment. They're enjoying the possibility of probably pacing segments of the race, and they're just enjoying supporting it because they love running. I think that's the perfect scenario, especially if they're other ultra runners. So you're not in the minority there, Joe. I think that's, from a convenience standpoint, it's easy for me too. I like the interloopal races just because I don't like to inconvenience my family so much. I know it's hard, especially if your significant other has kids to look after, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Joe Kern said, I constantly do the math on my runs, keep my brain occupied. I do too, but sometimes I trip myself up, and I mess up my math, and then I stress about it, and then I come to like, oh, okay, no, I'm okay. I want to talk a little bit about the run yesterday. Like yesterday, I was out running just to keep my mind occupied. Like I'll do little workouts and stuff like that. So I found this. I have a mile-long hill. It's a mile long from one end of the parking lot to the end of the street, and I've just been running up and down that. And yesterday I got to mile 4, and I was just getting kind of bored. I took this kind of trek through this park's path they had. It was kind of a trail. And I was like, you know what? I haven't done any kind of like mile trial or anything like that. So I was like, you know what? I had already run 4 miles, and I've done like 40 something in the last 6 or 7 days. So my legs are a little tired. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to kind of I'm warmed up really good. I'm going to do a mile. And it's a it was like a negative 78 feet from beginning to end. So it's got flat parts, some parts that climb, but overall it's a downhill. And I ran, Strava clocked me as a 7:10 mile, and my watch said 7:14. But anyways, it felt good to go fast in that. And so I remember doing the math in that, trying to figure it out. When I took off, I didn't have this face on my watch that kind of told me my lap time. And so I'm trying to do the math in that for like the longest time. It's amazing what you can find to occupy yourself. But anyways, that was a good workout. It was a great workout. I did 4 miles. Then ran a pretty decently hard mile. It wasn't full out, and then I ran 2 more miles to cool off. But that just changed things up for me in the training, which I've been running a lot for me here like recently, just trying to up my mileage, and I got to find something to occupy my mind sometimes. Frank said the difficulty with crew is that sometimes they aren't prepared for the emotional state you might be in when you get to an aid station. That is very, very true, because there are highs and lows. I mean, there's times where I've gotten angry at my pacers. Not my proudest moments. Not anger at like I'm mad at you, but like them kept telling me, I'm like, how far is the next aid station? I kept getting like, well, it's just around the corner. It's just around the bend. It's just around the bend. And then like I'm running like 3 miles. I'm like getting frustrated with them. Like, stop lying to me. Did I miss a super chat here? Mike Z, thank you for the super chat. How did I miss that? Thank you so much. $10 super chat. I appreciate that. Really do appreciate that. I'm sorry if you missed that. Hopefully it popped up on the screen. Thank you very much, Mike Z, for the support. Anyway, so that happened, but I remember distinctly because my kids were absorbing what they were seeing in the race, which was, about 80 something people started the race, only 50 finished. So there was a lot of really people not in good states, and you're running into the woods for long amounts of time. And I remember finishing my race, and at that time, I think she was like 14, something like that, 13, 14, she just broke down at the end of the race. Like, my kids were distraught because they thought I was lost in the woods. They thought I died. They were seeing everyone else come in, my highs and lows, and it was an emotional thing. So I never ever took into account how it would affect my family to see me and see all of that. So definitely something you probably need to consider. And thanks, Frank, for bringing that up, because that's definitely a very valid point when you're trying to consider who is going to be coming. Because they might they might not even understand why you're feeling the way you are, and might overreact or not be helpful. Runners are going to know. You know you're going to have some crap time, and you're going to be in the pain cave, and everything you say is a lie. And the funny thing is, I have on tape, just dated myself, on video where I don't know how, I'm like in the 50 miler and I'm late in the race, and I tell my wife, I was like, I'm never doing this race again. I'm never. And she said, my wife goes, "You always say that," and it just makes me laugh because it's so true. The stupid stuff that you say. Frank said, it's a lot easier to take someone yelling at you for no reason when you are trying to help them if you have been there before. Absolutely. If you're a runner and you just laugh it off because you know it's like they're being grumpy. So if you're not a runner, you might just think this person's an ass, and you don't want to do. I'm not coming to help you again. You're mean. You're yelling at me. Absolutely. Goku Runner said, at a lot of ultras, you can ask in the races Facebook group if anybody's willing to pace, if you need pacers. Good point. There's a lot of resources on a lot of these races where people are looking to either pace or crew. They're willing to help you. To me, it's awkward. I had one of my really, really good friends who had paced me before. She had a friend who was like a JFK. I think she finished like second in the JFK, and so she was going to pace me from like mile 19. And this is a funny story, and I'm only bringing it up because it's just funny. It's self-deprecating. So she was like somebody who was like trying out like at the Olympic trials for a marathoner. So she was super talented. I am not when it comes to being fast, especially in ultras. And so she's like, "Oh, I'm willing." I hadn't met her before, but we had a mutual best friend. So she paced me from mile 19, not knowing what she was taking on. She didn't realize that she was going to be on her feet for the next 7 hours to get me to the point where she was going to hop off. I remember she was saying she would finish probably an hour quicker than it took me from mile 19 to finish. So it's good. It's good to let people know what they're getting themselves into if they are going to pace, like how long they're going to be expected to pace, the pace, and stuff like that. Modern Day Tech. What's up, man? Welcome to stream. Smashed it. Yeah, oh yeah, everybody. We got to 5,000 subscribers. For most of you, you probably don't care too much about that. To me, that's been 5.5 years in the making. So, pat on the back. 5,000 subscribers. All of you joining in has helped so much. So I appreciate every single one of you. It's awesome. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, Modern Day Tech. Mike, are you in here? Mike Z, are you still in here? Hopefully you're in here. Hopefully you're still in here, because I want you to hopefully heard me say thank you for that super chat. That was greatly appreciated. Just trying to make sure I can get to everything here. Tasmania Running, so just notice you have a widget in the bottom right with a number of viewers. That's cool. Yeah, so I use Streamlabs and I have overlays, and there's supposed to be something that pops up, but I might not have the scene correct here. Hopefully it popped up. I didn't see it, so I didn't catch Mike Z's super chat when it happened, so I feel bad. But yeah, I have an overlay that has the amount of people, my name, and I have a bunch of different ones in here. I have one. Let me go show you guys this one real quick. When I do interviews, because I'm planning on doing an interview. What do you guys think of that? Excuse me. So I'm hoping to have this one for when I do interviews, or something like it. I'm actually supposed to interview Kafusi at some point. I had asked him if I could interview him a while ago, and he said yeah, and I just have not planned it. I'm hoping maybe he'll be the first interview. So I want to do something like this where I have the person I'm interviewing at the top part of the screen. Kelly said, Frank, I'm laughing out loud here. So on Facebook for the races, so you can get a lot of great Let me get my regular scene back here. Tim Hugo said, congratulations. Thank you. Appreciate that. Todd M said, enjoying my first live show. Just got to the trailhead and will be keep listening on my run. Well, have a good run, Todd. I should have brought down something to drink, and I did not. I was in a rush. Enjoy the run. That's awesome. Welcome to the stream, Todd M. I'm glad you got to your first one. Kelly said, happy running, Todd. And also, John, I'm sorry if I missed it, but are you following a plan or making your own? I am making my own right now. I basically have kind of a modified Hal Higdon 50K training plan that I'm always just in. Right now, I'm not doing anything specific because I'm not training for anything in particular. I'm just running more. My main goal right now is to try to get to, I want to hit 70 miles a week for a little bit. So I've been slowly building up, and I've also been trying to increase speed. And while I'm also losing weight. So I'm still probably 15-ish to 20 pounds. I'm going to say overweight because I'm not overweight. I just want to be lighter. I'm a bigger guy, and I carry around a little more weight. But I want to drop down to 190. Right now I'm about 209. I want to get down to 190, and that's really, really skinny for me. So if you go back to some of my older videos, I look at them, I'm like, I'm way too skinny, but it's easier to run when I'm lighter. So I'd be happy with another 15 pounds more. So I'm trying to, lose weight. I'm trying to work on speed and gain more mileage. So that's kind of my focus right now. My training block is just all about that. So it's about probably week 7 to 9 on the Hal Higdon 50K training plan is right around where I sit. Eventually, I'm going to be going through that plan again, probably changing some of it. I always modify the plan just because I'm not always happy with any. I've never found a plan that I like. I always have to modify it and make it fit to my life. Tim Hugo said, congratulations. David Rowan said, well done for the 5K. Yeah, it's been such a long time. It's been crazy. It's been a lot here recently. I've really taken a really concerted effort to be consistent, and I kind of narrowed the focus and the niche down for the channel. So it's all you guys. I mean, you guys are the ones watching the videos, hitting thumbs up on the videos, commenting on the videos, sharing the videos. Like, those are the things that make the channel grow. And I've said it before, like, the viewers, the subscribers of the channels are just as important as the content. Like, if it wasn't for you guys, like, YouTube wouldn't have the metrics and the data to help feed the videos to other people. So I'm extremely grateful for every single one of you that comes to the stream or comments and likes the video. All that stuff matters. It really, really does. And again, when you make something, when you spend time, as much time as I do, this is almost another full-time job, it means a lot to have people enjoy it and have people to share it with. So I love this community. I love this. I love the streaming aspect of this because now I feel like I'm getting to know people instead of just kind of that stagnant like comment section on the videos. Like, I like being able to know. I like being able to know, I get to look at, Frank's runs and stuff like that. And I feel like I know him more, like, because I get to see his runs. He hangs out here. You get to know personalities. You guys get to know me a little bit more instead of kind of the cleaned up version that you get to see in my videos where I can edit out everything. You kind of get the raw version of me and you get my personality. So hopefully that's, better for you all in connecting with me. Mike Z said, Zup. Yup. Okay. Oh, great. You heard me. I felt horrible that I didn't see that when it came in. Frank said, congrats. Tasmania running, give me a thumbs up. David, thumbs up. Timmy said, looks good. Oh, so that's the interview thing. Kelly said, very cool screen, and I love the interviews. Just discovered Confusey 2. Would love to hear from him. Yeah, I can't wait to interview him. We started the same way on YouTube, so I'm very interested in talking to him about a lot of things, not just running, but a lot of other things too. So Mike Z said, all I know about this group is I'm a former runner and I have been starting at square one again after a couple years, forced off, skipping lots of those details. Simply saying how great it is those in this family are really supportive every single level and ability. Absolutely. That's the best thing, and kind of the thing that I want to drive home with this channel is that I want all people at different levels starting. And, you know, I just came off a couple year layoff where I wasn't running as much as I am now. And I know how difficult it is. I've been there. I've been at the height of my fitness and then fallen off of that and had to build it back up again. So I mean, I'm right there. I'm not somebody who's, you know, was a, you know, elite college runner that has never taken a break and, you know, doesn't understand, you know, the difficulties of being, you know, aging and dealing with family and full-time jobs and dealing with all of that, and also gaining your fitness back again. It's tough. It's really tough. And so I want people to, and that's why I try to be transparent with this, so people understand that I really understand the struggles, and I don't want to whitewash it so people don't see that the struggles. I try to be very honest and transparent about that. I should have brought a drink down. First, I forgot my beer and last time I had a beer and a coffee. Frank said, losing weight when you have weight to lose is the easiest way to get faster. It absolutely is. So, yeah, Frank's talking about, like, when I run now, I can when I lose weight, I can actually feel like if I lose a pound or two, I can see drops in my times. And so right now I'm going through like this really fun period that I'm able to get faster by doing nothing other than just losing weight. I mean, I'm getting fitter. You know, I think, you know, Frank, you've been around here since the beginning of me losing. So most of you have watched my story. You've seen, you know, but Frank is also seeing my times and stuff on Strava, how I've gotten faster. And I'm not pushing hard for speed, but just my fitness is getting better, and it's just easier to run. I'm not carrying around an extra 35 pounds that I was at the beginning. So it's definitely a lot of fun in that aspect, to be able to see gains like that so easily. And can I explain how fun it was to actually run that mile the other day fast? Like, I don't do that anymore. I'm going to be doing more of it, but it was so much fun to run that 7-minute mile. It was a ton of fun to go fast. And to my mind, it was weird because I was like, that's not even my fast. I mean, I ran a 22, almost broke a 22-minute 5K, which for me was good. And I didn't train super hard for that, but, you know, I've always wanted to break a 20-minute 5K. It was one of my goals. So maybe I'll get there. Well, I think we got to the end there. All right, everybody, I'm going to hop off, give you back 3 minutes of your life. I appreciate everybody. Please make sure you hit that thumbs up before you leave. I released the Mizuno Wave Horizon 4 review. Go watch that video. I'm really proud of that video. I know not everybody cares about that shoe, but it's a really good shoe. It's not like the Inspire 16. I'm going to be doing a comparison video with the Wave Inspire 16 and the Brooks Adrenaline 20 and 19. Like, how do they feel in comparison and the differences? So far, the Mizuno Wave Horizon 4 is like my favorite shoe. It doesn't feel like a stability shoe. It feels more like a neutral shoe, which is, it's interesting because it still does have the support. It's really cushiony. I love it. So go watch that. Super proud of that video, and I want to see it do well, because it was one I was really proud of, and I've been looking forward to getting done for a long time. Catch you on Friday. I have practices, excuse me, on Friday, so I don't know if I'm going to be doing early. So this Friday I may do it again around 3, but I may be changing that to, I'm going to try to shoot for 3 just to make it easy. I don't know if I'm going to be prepared for Thursday. So, but I might end up doing that one on Thursday, moving it up to a Thursdays at 5 to see what we can do. Hey, welcome, West Virginia Running Don. Nice listening. John had to drive to get my hair cut. I need a haircut too. I mean, I've been cutting my own hair. Look at this. Stuff's crazy. I need to get it cut again, but I've been pulling it up on top and just cutting around the edges. It's been hard to get into place. Kelly said, finger crossed for your race. Friday at 3. I'm going to shoot for Friday at 3. I'm going to go ahead and make the commitment now just because I appreciate all you guys coming. Friday at 3, but I think the next week we might move it to Thursday unless... I don't think practices are going to change, so I'll try to stick with that. I appreciate everyone. Thank you for watching. Again, make sure you hit that thumbs up. See if we can't get it to 20 before I sign off. Be safe, everyone. Thanks, everyone. A great conversation tonight. This was a good one. This was a good one. So I think that's all I got. Any questions before I go? Remember, go watch the Horizon 4 video. Please, pretty please. All right, I'm gonna go. Let me go ahead and switch this right here, and everyone be safe. And I will see you Friday. Real Brother 32, I see you. I need to come by the cigar shop. I need to come meet you. Good luck with packing, Tasmania running. Everyone take care. Just looking over, make sure I didn't miss anything. Take care, be safe, everybody.